This is the inner sanctum?
Yeah, this is where whatever happens, happens. I'm not sure what to make of it myself sometimes.
The best-selling author on the planet works out of this office in his home in Palm Beach, Florida, overlooking the Atlantic.
I kind of work here, and then I'll work there as well, and then also in the back room.
This is headquarters for the publishing empire the New York Times called James Patterson, Inc., the creative roost of a writer who's produced 73 #1 bestsellers and sold 325 million books. You want to explain this for me?
Yes, I write with a pencil.
I just can't believe you produce all this not on a computer.
Yeah, well, thank God I don't work on a computer, because then I'd really be prolific.
The words writer's block aren't in Patterson's vocabulary. With a team of co-writers, he puts out the Alex Cross Mysteries, the Women's Murder Club, Michael Bennett and Maximum Ride series, and his shelves are lined with dozens of other novels in progress. This is everything in the works?
No.
There's more?
Now, all over there and there. These are just the big books. Here's the real crazy thing.
In launching a new series of short novels called Bookshots.
And these are all Bookshots. Every one of these tabs is a different book.
Patterson's had a creative explosion, more like a volcanic eruption. How many of these are there?
This many.
You're involved in some way in every single one of these?
Not in some way. Yeah, 80% of them I did the outline.
His aim, to transform the book business.
This was a little bit of a revolution, Bookshots, a reading revolution, and we have all this stuff crushing down on us. Yes. And unfortunately for a lot of people, one of those things started to become books that were just too long for them to deal with.
23 titles will be released this year.
Under 150 pages. Under $5. Impossible to stop reading.
They are very, very fast-paced.
Good book, huh?
They're like reading a movie.
The son of an insurance salesman and a teacher, Jim Patterson was valedictorian of his high school class, but he wasn't much of a reader. When did you actually start writing?
I worked my way through college at a mental hospital up in Belmont, Massachusetts, and I worked a lot, and I just started scribbling stories.
In 1976, at age 29, he finished his first novel, The Thomas Berryman Number.
And it was turned down by 31 publishers. It then won an Edgar as the best first mystery.
Right. What did you think when you were getting 31 rejections?
It happened fairly quickly, so it wasn't, it was like death of a thousand cuts. And, but the cuts came really fast.
Little Brown finally published it, but sales of his early books were slow. It took you a while to really catch on.
Yeah.
Why?
Things happened along the way. I was with a woman who got very sick with cancer.
Her name was Jane Blanchard. They'd been a couple for 6 years. You two were just walking down the street here in New York?
Well, actually, we were in the post office on Broadway, and Jane just collapsed.
It was a brain tumor?
It was a brain tumor. And, for the next 2.5 years, she was dying.
Was that the toughest thing you've been through?
Yeah. Yeah, that was devastating. I mean, when you're madly in love with somebody, and they're young, and they're dying, they're not good.
How long did it take you to get over that?
The weird thing was, I was very close to my grandfather, and when he died, I could not cry. And I was like, you're wanting to and you can't. When Jane got sick, I cried every single day. So, it took a long time.
Patterson was working in advertising then.
I started out as a copywriter right here, J. Walter Thompson.
After Jane died, you kind of threw yourself into advertising.
Yeah, that was, a lot of things for me changed when Jane died. I don't know, I think life just became more important for me, my focus, and that's where I threw myself into this and really rose from a copywriter to CEO in a hurry. In a couple of years, yeah.
Among his successful ad campaigns, this one.
I don't want to grow up, I'm a toy just kid.
Eventually, he returned to writing.
I actually sat down and said, I'm going to try to write a best-selling novel. And also recognizing where my weaknesses were and trying to avoid those.
What were your weaknesses?
My weakness is I'm not a great stylist. So keep it simple. And that's when I wrote Along Came a Spider.
Published in 1993, it was Patterson's breakout book. The novel introduced African-American detective Alex Cross and spawned a franchise that's produced 20 sequels and 3 films.
Well, he's like a spider. And I happen to like spiders.
A few years later, Patterson started dating Sue Solis, an art director at the ad agency. They married in 1997
I mean, Serena and Jack have been together since they were like 1.
and have an 18-year-old son, Jack, whose initial reluctance to read helped inspire Patterson's push into young adult fiction.
Reading iFunny TV is like getting hit with a cream pie. Your kids will love it.
Back there is the kids section, which is another big deal with me.
The 69-year-old writer has become an outspoken advocate for child literacy,
This one's going to be a movie in October.
donating 500,000 books to students.
If we don't get our kids reading, especially at-risk kids, I mean, how are they going to get through high school?
In his 20,000 square foot Palm Beach house, James Patterson, Inc. is still working overtime. What's your routine?
Well, the routine is 7 days a week. I mean, I'm basically in my office 5:36 in the morning.
And up in that office, his imagination never rests.
But I would think at a certain point, you would say, why write one more?
Because I love doing it. I mean, it's like, why go to another movie or why eat another chocolate? I mean, my life, I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow because I don't know what I'm going to make up. I don't know what I'm going to create.